All right. Thank you, Amir. That was a really interesting take on AI and art. I think that really provides a unique perspective vis-a-vis our panel that we just heard, machine learning and the future of regulation. Well, we heard from some of our projects, AI and how companies and corporations are looking at this. And now with Amir and his approach on creativity and AI, we'd now like to take a moment to talk about some of our executive education programs and showcase a new initiative that we recently launched, our Machines Plus Media Working Group. So what is this? This is a convening series for industry leaders in data science and corporate innovation. We convene on a quarterly basis to network and learn about cutting-edge applications of machine learning. We see this as a benefit of the New York City Media Lab membership for our corporate partners and an opportunity for industry leaders to learn from our community of practice. So community of practice and each other in an intimate setting. Each quarter, we focus on a specific theme in machine learning. So to date, that includes things like explainable AI, natural language processing, voice and audio. We invite university faculty and startups and our corporate members to talk about how they are leading and exploring the frontiers of that particular area of AI and machine learning. So I'll just give you a few examples of the folks that we've hosted. Professor Lydia Chilton from Columbia University to talk about her work in computational techniques that blend natural language processing and visual content. Professor Michael Mandel from CUNY to talk about his work at the intersection of machine learning, signal processing, and psychoacoustics, which means how to use machine learning to distinguish between human speech and noise. We've also hosted startups like Elemental Cognition, leading in the field in transparent AI, as well as Satisfy Labs that leads in the field of natural language processing and conversational AI. So if you're interested in learning more, please feel free to talk to any one of my colleagues and me to learn more. All right, so now let's go into our series of next round of R&D projects. At our summit last year, we announced our EdTech Challenge in partnership with the Verizon 5G Labs and the Verizon Foundation. Since then, we've launched a nationwide challenge, selected 10 teams to participate in a product accelerator program, and we're excited to talk about the next phase of this project. You'll hear from one of our team members, movers and shakers, in a couple minutes, but first I would like to introduce to the stage our fantastic partner from the Verizon Foundation, Phil Puthumana. All right. Oh, get ready.
So, Erica, thanks for that kind introduction. My name is Phil Puthumana. I'm the program manager at Verizon. I'm also at the Corporate Office of Corporate Social Responsibility, which is also the Verizon Foundation. I'm excited to be here today to share information about our 5G EdTech Challenge. I'd like to start by thanking New York City Media Lab, which has been an integral partner in working together with us on this competition. A huge thank you to Justin Hendricks and the entire New York City Media Lab team for your tremendous partnership. So as mentioned, I work for the National Philanthropic arm of Verizon, a company which represents nearly 140,000 employees and over 155 million customers throughout the United States. Our credo is to share our success with the community to make the world a better place. Our brand promise is to deliver the promise of a digital world to give people the ability to do more. We focus much of our energy on helping to provide under-resourced youth the relevant skills for good jobs and entrepreneurship. As we enter the fourth industrial revolution with the introduction of 5G technology across the country, we'll witness everything that can be connected getting connected. Technologies such as artificial intelligence, autonomous cars, robotics, and biotechnology will prime a fresh wave of innovation, all of it enabled by the low latency, remarkable speeds, and continuous connectivity of next-generation wireless technology. At Verizon, we want to ensure that the digital divide narrows rather than widens, and help the education systems prepare students for the digital economy, matching talent to opportunity. The Verizon 5G EdTech Challenge launched as a nationwide call for thought leaders to create powerful, transformative education solutions that leverage the unique capabilities of 5G to solve challenges faced by under-resourced middle schools around the country. Verizon Innovative Learning, the education initiative of Verizon, in partnership with New York City Media Lab, launched the 5G EdTech Challenge in September of 2018. After receiving more than 150 submissions, judges from across startup, education, and enterprise industries selected 10 winners that then received $100,000 each, a total of $1 million, to develop their ideas so they could be implemented in classrooms across the country, part of Verizon's mission to uplift people and communities. These 10 winning teams, which developed solutions that use AR, VR, or machine learning AI, then entered the next phase of the challenge, a 3-month-long accelerator program, to ensure their applications properly leverage 5G and effectively teach middle school students. Select teams from the challenge are now in the final phase of testing out their solutions in one of our 5G-enabled schools. The 10 winning Verizon 5G EdTech Challenge teams are, and if you're present, please stand, 5G Covet, which is a partnership with NYU and Columbia University, Visceral Science, a partnership with World Science Festival and Columbia University, Mapper's Delight, RAP Research Lab, Mixed Reality to Improve Social Skills, again, Columbia, Unsung, Movers and Shakers, I think these guys are here, the 5G-enabled collaborative mixed reality classroom at NYU, 5G K12 robotics classroom from Tufts University, Lumovia, which is a partnership with Georgia Tech and UPenn, Playground Physics, New York Hall of Science, and finally, Making Projects with Purpose in Immersive Media at the New School. Let's give them all a round of applause. Now let's watch a short highlight video which provides an overview of the competition.
Verizon Innovative Learning is an initiative of Verizon Foundation where we provide free connectivity, free technology, hands-on immersive curricula, and teacher training to under-resourced schools across the country. When I think about the classroom of the future, it should be a classroom without walls. You should be able to have direct personalized learning. I think about it as a very immersive opportunity for students.
We're building a future that leverages an equitable innovation. New emerging technologies are fast coming, and we want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to experience and engage with the next generation of 5G technology.
Movers and Shakers is focused on using augmented reality as a tool to highlight underrepresented narratives. It's our goal to put the technology of tomorrow into the hands of communities that usually get it last.
We've been working on bringing physics into the VR space. Our goal is to create an experience for a middle school kid where they go in and they learn about planets and stars and galaxies in a way that completely transforms their relationship to the universe. 5G has been absolutely essential to this project because if you're going to have kids in a virtual world where their focus is on cause and effect, there can't be lag, there can't be latency, it has to really appear to be a real world, and that's what 5G gives us.
The Verizon 5G EdTech Challenge supported us through mentorship, different levels of coaching, workshops, and consultations. It was extremely helpful for us to hear from entrepreneurs who have struggled with a lot of the problems that we're currently dealing with. Throughout the Product Accelerator, we went through a series of user interviews specifically with students, and it was a blast. Students have a bunch of energy and they really took to the technology and found it intuitive. The next challenge was to take it from something fun to something that's also useful for teachers. 5G has allowed us to break this glass ceiling that is imposed by limited file sizes. And for the first time, we can really create robust, interactive, and meaningful experiences at the level that we imagined, rather than the current technological barriers.
We understand a lot of the challenges that teachers have and also the challenges of the students that are coming into the program.
Verizon has been a great partner. They have helped us think through strategy, think through the opportunities, and really create the best experience for the end user.
Over the last few years, we've already reached 1 million students with our hands-on immersive curriculum and the technology and access that we provide.
Representation matters. Now, for the first time with this medium, we want to empower kids to see themselves in the curriculum and in the technology.
So I'd like to welcome up to stage members of one of the winning teams of the Verizon 5G EdTech Challenge, Movers and Shakers, who developed a multiplayer augmented reality game where workbooks highlight the narratives of underrepresented icons in history. Please welcome Glenn Kantav and Idris Brewster.
Hello, hello.
A little technical difficulty?
Give us 1 second to get it up, Glenn.
No problem.
Hello.
All right. Hi, I'm Glenn,
I'm Idris.
and we are Movers and Shakers. Movers and Shakers is a collective of artists, activists, educators, and technologists. Movers and Shakers is a platform. We're developing a suite of augmented reality apps that are specifically focused on highlighting underrepresented narratives, as well as tools for educational purposes. So, in 2017, when the city of Charlottesville, Virginia decided to remove statues of two Confederate generals, Nazis and Klansmen organized to protect them, I went down to counter-protest and saw firsthand the lengths that people were willing to go to protect their own version of history. Currently, there are 718 Confederate monuments standing nationwide. And in New York City alone, there are 155 statues of men, 6 statues of women, 23 animals, and several slaveholders that would have owned people like Idris and myself. So this is what we are up against. And today, we're here to talk about our approach in using AR technology to reimagine public spaces and educate the youth. So this is our AR Monuments project. Now, it's a slow and bureaucratic process to remove and to erect monuments. And the discrepancy that I just described is years in the making. Our solution is augmented reality monuments. AR is scalable. You can make the monuments any size, place them anywhere, and you can do it with or without permission. And so our team has the capability of creating hundreds of AR monuments for the price of one traditional statue. So that's what we're doing. We're building out a catalog of women and people of color, and we're going to be placing them all throughout New York City and ultimately nationwide, with the aim of hitting gender parity in our AR Monuments app by the year 2021, specifically in New York City. And so, in terms of our public spaces, there's inequitable representation, and the same lies in our history books. They tend to focus on the gains of the oppressors and gloss over the pain of the oppressed. So as a part of our Monuments project, we advocated for the removal of the statue of Christopher Columbus at Columbus Circle. Now, when we were kids, I'm sure all of y'all learned too. We learned about the boats, the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. But one thing our teachers never told us about were the Taino slaves at the bottom of those boats. So we are creating an AR book to set the record straight. Now, the value of using AR here is that we're condensing information from academic sources that most people do not read into something that's more visually striking that children and adults will be more likely to engage with. So when all is said and done, we will have a consumer product as well as that will serve as a book and will also be an academic resource for schools.
So, representation matters. The blockbuster success of movies like Black Panther have really shown the world that people are craving diversity in the media that they intake. Movers and Shakers is determined to expose children of color to XR content by creating experiences that resonate with both our shared history and our lived experience. Our work sits at the critical intersection of education and entertainment. Our goal is to tell stories that people would want to see in their free time, while also imparting on them knowledge that you would get from going to a museum or being inside of a classroom. So, as you all know, earlier this year, we won the Verizon 5G EdTech Challenge, a national open call for creative applications of 5G technology to increase student engagement in the classroom. Through our experience with Verizon, we were able to iterate on our product and talk to teachers and students around the country. And the culmination of all that was Unsung, which is a multiplayer AR learning experience that highlights women musicians of color throughout history who have used their voices to advocate for social change and overcome adversity.
Now, the product accelerator was transformational for us because truth is, we're a scrappy 3-person startup. Our third partner is always in VR. And we pretty much did our work based upon instinct. But with the implemented structure of the lean startup model and the mentorship that we received through Verizon, it really took our process and our product to the next level.
And so, before jumping into Movers and Shakers full time, I worked at Google Code Next, and that was an educational component inside of Google, which created STEM curriculum aimed towards Black and brown youth. So I've experienced firsthand the advantages of having kids be able to see themselves represented not only in the curriculum, but in the technologies of the future. Movers and Shakers has worked with kids every step of the way, and we've realized how important and how valuable a resource AR can be for increasing student engagement in these classrooms. It's accessible, it's cost-effective, and it allows teachers and schools and under-resourced schools specifically to dynamically update their content. And so the platform that we've built for Unsung offers a completely new way to position narratives in AR. 6th to 8th grade English students can read passages that align with Common Core standards in our workbook and answer multiple choice questions in the app. Correct answers to those questions will unlock what you see up here, which we call an AR story box. And that provides visual and interactive information for kids to latch onto, and each of these AR story boxes attaches to one of the figures that we are representing in our curriculum. Now, all the kids can jump in this experience and see this in their classroom, but they can also peel back the layers of time and jump into specific scenes throughout history that have to do with those figures. And once they teleport in, they'll immersively experience it as if they're there. They'll have 6 degrees of freedom inside each of these environments, and they'll be able to interact with streaming media such as videos, text, and images. And so now, the great thing is we're really creating a new narrative device through AR, and we're meeting the kids where they're at with their media intake. Kids nowadays interact with their information visually in social spaces, such as social media, video games, and etc. And so we want to allow them with our AR to be able to interact with educational and historical content, but to be able to do it in a similarly engaging and visual manner. This is what we want to hone down on, and we want to create more immersive and culturally driven experiences to set in classrooms across America as well as public spaces. And so through our time at Verizon, we were really able to hone down on focus groups with teachers and user testing with kids, and the feedback was amazing. The kids were ecstatic, and as they usually do with a lot of things, they took the experience to the next level. They explored every nook and cranny of their classroom in order to finish our experiences in their entirety. And the teachers' feedback was even more overwhelming for us, because what they were saying is they loved how flexible and accessible our experiences were, and they loved how we were able to make students agents of their own learning. And so we want to double down on that and get these in classrooms across America.
And so our Storybox Unsung will be ready for September of next year, but we've gotten feedback from teachers saying that with what we have, they would be willing to implement it right now. And so a key insight that we've received from our user interviews was the flexibility of our new AR Storybox storytelling format. This is not just something that can exist in English classrooms. Science teachers, art teachers, and history teachers all spoke about how they can implement it in their classrooms as well. So if you're interested in seeing the versatility for yourself, we're going to be demoing from 1 to 5 downstairs, and we hope to see you there.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you. Good job. Thank you. We'll take the clicker. Okay. Thank you, Glenn, Idris, and Phil. That was really exciting, and we are always so pleased to see applications of emerging technology in new ways, especially in education. Okay. So now, building on this theme of applications of immersive technology and, now building off of what we saw with immersive technology and the future of storytelling, I'd like to now go into our collaboration with A+E Networks, where we had university teams develop multi-user AR experiences that explored the intersection of gaming and narrative storytelling. So let's welcome Tuba Özkan and Xiao Huitu to the stage. All right.
Hi, everyone. We are here today to share our experience in creating an escape room for the TV show Project Blue Book. This project has sponsored by AE Networks and NYC Media Lab.
My name is Chao. I am a creative technologist who has a passion to create playful and unique experiences with technology. And I have taught multiple classes at Parsons Design Technology, where I have my master's degree from.
My name is Tuba. I'm a product designer and a part-time faculty at Parsons. I'm passionate about building digital experiences that enhances physical human interactions. So we started this project in January. We applied for an open call that is announced by NYC Media Lab for asking for multi-user AR experiences. And we had a chance to work on it for 3 months by getting mentorship from AE Networks and NYC Media Lab. And throughout the summer, we received an additional grant, which gave us an opportunity to explore more, test more of this experience, and build unique interactive storytelling in AR. We are honored and very excited to share with you our experience. So what is really an escape room for Project Blue Book? First of all, Project Blue Book is a TV series broadcasted by History Channel. It's based on the true top secret investigations about unidentified flying objects conducted by the United States Air Force during 50s and 60s. For those who is not familiar with what is an escape room is basically a game where a team of players come together, discover clues, solve puzzles cooperatively in a limited amount of time, and which usually requires a lot of resources, a physical space. On the other hand, our escape room enables you to investigate into Project Blue Book cases with your friends at anywhere and any time, of course, before your time runs out. There are 3 aspects of the project that we want to emphasize. So this is a collaborative experience that enables users to engage with the content in a nonlinear, interactive way, and they can play it at anywhere and any time. Why multi-user augmented reality? Why this emerging technology got our attention really was, first of all, it enables us to create social collaboration, social interactions. We are living in an era where our digital devices are making us more and more individualistic. This new technology provides us an opportunity to create more physical interactions through digital devices. It also offers us a new way, a unique way for nonlinear interactive storytelling. You can bring a lot of original content into this context and enable audience to engage with the content in a different way. As an example, in our experience, we also borrowed a lot of elements from the show. We took a lot of historical documents and embedded them into the experience, where our players can engage with the content and know about the background even more when they're having fun. And of course, and most importantly, you can play it at anywhere and any time. All you need is a friend to play with and a big enough space to walk around. Now, Cho will walk you through the experience while trying not to give a lot of spoilers about the game.
All right. So, welcome to the AR escape room of Project Blue Book. You have one mission in this room, is you have to do the right thing. You're going to steal the classified sighting reports. So imagine, this is 1969, and you're a private UFO investigator who received an urgent message from Professor Hynek, which is one of the main characters from the story. He needs you to steal the classified sighting reports from the military base. What you have to do is gather information, solve puzzles, obtain reports, and get out, if you can. All right, so this is the room where the reports are hidden. And you and your team would explore the objects and gather information and solve puzzles. There are multiple challenges and dangers waiting for you. And we gather significant objects and symbols from the story and incorporate them in the set design and the puzzle design to really put the players in the story. As an example of a collaboration with 2 devices, This is a task that requires everyone's action at the same time. So you and your friend will each control one light, and the task is to mix 2 light colors to reveal your clue. And in the process of finding the report, the main entrance is no longer safe. So the next task for you is to find another way out. There is a hidden door in the room. All right. And if you successfully get out without escape from the room with the report, you will be rewarded with a classified report just recently released by FBI to really learn about the case and what happened then. There are a few learnings we would like to share in the process of making this experience, especially for people who are also making AR experiences. So we will recommend you to keep the interaction straightforward and rewarding. Utilize visual and sound effects to create a rich feedback for players' behavior instead of creating a very complicated like controls and those kind of things. Second, to set standards and set standard gestures or expect the necessity to teach them how to operate it. Thank you for your attention. If you're curious about this project or interested in collaborating with us, please keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. All right. Thank you, Tuba and Chow. Next up, we'll conclude our R&D showcase with a project between Viacom and NYU School of Engineering. This team in this project took on the opportunity to better understand how to create machine learning tools to extract and categorize video content. Let's welcome Jack Langerman and Jipeng Fan to the stage. Hello.
Thank you. All right. Hi, everybody. I am Jack Langerman.
And I am Jipeng Fan from NYU.
And we're going to be talking to you today about our project about learning representations for TV shows. So this is a project that's a collaboration between Viacom, NYU Video Lab, and NYC Media Lab. So Viacom currently operates about 170 networks, reaching 700 million people in 160 countries, and distributes over 100 billion hours of narrative content per year. So this begs an obvious question: how to make sense out of all that content? So all of Viacom's data are basically TV shows. These naturally arrange themselves into a hierarchical structure. You sort of have all of Viacom's content at the top, and then each show consists of a number of episodes, and then the episodes are themselves subdivided into frames which are grouped into scenes. And for each of these scenes, we can assign a small group of labels that sort of represent or summarize the scene. So the previous approach for acquiring these labels is to use domain experts. This means having human beings watch TV shows and annotate for each scene what they think the show or what they think that particular scene is about. And these labels can be anything as concrete as soccer or something as abstract as bravery or fear. So the original scope of our project was to take a relatively limited set of scenes that had been labeled by humans, pictured on your left here, and train a model to try to predict what label a human being would have assigned to a new unlabeled scene. So this was our task. Now, we wanted to know from Viacom, what are these labels going to be used for? So there's all these different tasks, whether it's recommending clips that people might like because they're similar to something they already watched, retrieval, search, sort of any number of tasks. So this sort of, zooming into the model a little more. The way that these neural network models work is they learn an internal representation that sort of compresses the input content into a fixed size vector or a list of numbers. And then this list of numbers can then be projected out onto the labels or whatever thing that we care about, which again, in this case is the labels. But this again sort of asks another question. If we're using these labels, this human-created representation to do these tasks, could we also use the learned representation from inside the model to accomplish the same thing, maybe even better? And spoiler alert, yes, we can.
So after clearly defining the pipeline for this project, we wanted to think about how to we actually present the data to our models. So the data we received actually contains multiple modalities, and at this initial stage, we try to focus more on the closed captions. And on the right is a plot of the data we packaged for our models. So basically, the model takes the closed caption on the top as input and try to predict the topic at the bottom. So after a lot of trials and errors on a lot of traditional language models like Bedford and recurrent neural nets, we found that the state-of-the-art pre-trained transformer actually performs much better. And the reason we think that it actually performs much better is that it's the pre-training. And in the pre-training stage, a group from OpenAI team tried to pre-training these models on 10,000 different bots on the unsupervised task of next word prediction and next sentence prediction. So during this stage, we try to let the model to learn the general rules used in human languages. And on top of that, we try to further pre-training this transformer on the open subtitle dataset. So the reason we're doing this is that we think the language rules used in the movie subtitles is actually much more close to the language rules they used in the TV shows. And once it's fully trained on those two huge datasets, we try to focus on the Viacom corpus. So since the topic label is already available for the Viacom dataset, so we train the models jointly on the unsupervised task of next word prediction and also the multi-label topic classification. If we zoom in a little bit to the output of the transformer, it's actually try to summarize the input task into compact and fixed size representations. And as we mentioned earlier, that compact representation could also be used for other downstream tasks. And in addition to that, we could aggregate the representation from each individual scenes as a unique signature for the entire show, for the entire episode. And therefore, we can perform the recommendation or retrieval on an episode level.
So let's take a look a little bit more at what did this model actually learn. So we talked about this representation that it learned. This is some high-dimensional thing, and then we can project it down into 3D and try to take a look at it. So each of these boxes corresponds to one episode from a TV show. They're colored and also labeled with text of what show they're from. So the first thing to notice is that boxes that are the same color tend to be in similar parts of the space. This is nice, because this means that episodes from the same show ended up in similar parts of the space, even though the model was never trained with that information. Another nice thing to notice, if you see in the bottom left here, we have Reno 911 is the orange blob and Tosh.0 is the purple blob. These are both sort of raunchy adult shows. If you compare that to the top right up there, we have Rugrats, Max and Ruby, and Blue's Clues. These are shows that are targeted at children. And we can see that the model learned how to separate these things a lot and sort of arrange the shows according to these demographics, again, despite the fact that it never had access to that information. This is another example. We're out of time, so I'm not going to go through it, but next slide, please. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have questions about this. We're going to hang around after the last talk. And again, I'm Jack Langerman.
And I'm Zhipeng. Thank you very much for attending.
And we'd love any questions about this or anything else.